Hey everybody, welcome to Bad Relationship Advice with Damian and Monica. We're going to be finishing up our series on the 7 deadly sins this week with the subject of pride and why pride is a deadly sin. Poison to the soul, you might say. Monica, how's it going?
It's going fine. How are you doing, Damian?
I'm just dandy. Pretty busy lately.
Yeah. Well, I'm proud of you.
It is what it is. You're what?
I'm proud of you.
Oh my God, here we go. So why is pride a bad thing? Like, isn't it, shouldn't you be able to feel pride about something you did? Like, can't you, isn't that good?
I mean, I think it is, but I think that's sort of up to debate between you and I. So let's talk about the type of pride that's why the soul killing pride, right? The deadly sin pride.
Yeah.
And how would we define that type of pride? How would we know that this is the kind of pride that's not good for us, that's killing our soul?
Right. The path of the organic portal. The thing is about pride is that it fosters a false sense of who you are. So it's an extension of your mind-made sense of self. So your identity. I'm proud of my physical appearance, or I'm proud of my accomplishment. I earned a lot of money, or I'm proud of building this amazing structure, or I'm proud of painting this beautiful picture, or I'm proud of marrying this beautiful person, or having these wonderful children. Like, it doesn't sound like a bad thing. The problem that's happening here is that by identifying yourself with these things that are part of the physical world around us, you are being drawn away from who you truly are, which is a manifestation of universal consciousness.
Right. So, and why are you being drawn away from that?
Well, because you can't identify with the physical form and be in touch with your universal consciousness at the same time.
Okay, so the idea is sort of maybe there's a separation.
Yeah, there's a separation between who you truly are and what your mind is constructing for yourself. I am this. It's like, no, you are. There is no. The true definition of you is simply awareness. That's it. There's no qualifying factors. There's no level of intelligence. There's no level of wealth or status or power or attractiveness. It's all of those things are surface. All of those things are fleeting, and all of those things will be gone one day. The only thing that is truly you is your, as we want to use in this series, we're calling it the soul, that awareness, that presence, that is the true you. So pride takes you away from that.
Okay, so let's kind of maybe think of some examples. So we mentioned a couple, right? So for example, like appearance. Can we expand on that?
Why would being proud of your appearance be a negative thing or be bad for your soul?
Right.
Well, as we all know, looks are temporary. And also, you don't have anything to do with that. Like, I mean, congratulations, you're good looking. What did you do to earn that? I was once talking to a boy in a bar. He came up, and for some reason he just started chatting with me. And he goes, "How do you talk to a beautiful woman," or whatever? And I was like, well, first of all, you do not compliment her on something that she had absolutely no control over. For example, I don't know, her eyes, or it's like, you have beautiful eyes. Well, thanks a lot. I guess thank my genetics, because, like, what? You didn't do anything to get those eyes. You just have them. There's an emptiness there. So yeah, physical appearance, identifying with your physical appearance, and being proud of the fact that you're in great shape. Maybe you did a lot of exercise to get into great shape. Okay, good for you. But eventually that is all going to be gone. It's not it's not, and it's not you. It's just not you. It's your
It's a
body,
layer.
you
Mhm.
know.
And so maybe also this idea of thinking that we are better than, inferior or superior, right, to someone else based on how we look, right? And so we just sort of defining ourselves in that way, which again is really fleeting and it's not who we are. It's a layer, and feeling kind of superior or inferior to someone based on that. We're not meeting them in a kind of genuine way, right? It's kind of like we're just defining ourselves based on a layer that is not truly who we are. So there's the separation. Um, and and
Right.
and maybe also this idea of like, if you're proud of how you look, then inevitably, you know, it's sort of like, because I look better than someone else, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so if you're proud of various things, that, you know, the implication is you're proud because you're better than. I mean, you can't be
Right.
proud of your looks if you are kind of, you know, below
The
average
only
looking,
one.
right? So the idea seems to be, I think it's about kind of acceptance, maybe, of sort of who you are, and who you are is sort of beyond or underneath all of that,
Right.
right?
Much
Underneath all of
deeper.
these things. Yeah. So
And
it's
I
kind of
think you
like
hit a
not,
good point when you mentioned separation. So all these deadly sins that we have been going over in this series, they feed a sense of individuality. They feed a sense of me versus them. And the awakened soul is on the opposite end of the spectrum. An awakened soul is a it is it is a part of a universal thing. It recognizes itself as not separate. Everything is connected, the soul included. So all of these sins, like you were saying, serve to separate you or give you this sense that you are separate. And that is destructive. That is destructive to the soul.
right. Occupation.
Yeah, same deal. I
Okay.
am a I am a really great business professional, or I am a really great artist, or I'm a really great teacher, or I'm a really great politician. I mean, it serves to define you and separate you from the others, um, leading to this solitary, sense of self, disconnected. And as you were saying, also this idea of comparison.
Mhm.
I am better than, or this is where I am in the rankings. People love rankings. They want to know where they stand in the rankings.
Yeah. And I think that's for some people who identify very much with their occupation. That's why it might be very hard when they lose their jobs or when they retire. It's kind of like, then it's sort of like, well, who am I? Well, you were never that to begin with.
Right. They have this identity crisis because they're searching for an identity in the wrong place.
What about moral superiority?
What exactly would that be? What would that mean if you were if you felt like you were morally superior to somebody? Like,
Yeah, that you're making better moral choices than others. I
oh,
would never do this.
oh God. I think that even fits into like a certain type of narcissism where you leverage your spotless reputation and your high moral standards, again, against other people. So once again, you're comparing yourself. I make better decisions. I always do the right thing. I always take the high road. And in that very thinking, you are again you know, you're using that me versus them mentality.
Right. And we're not always going to be morally superior anyhow, right? So going back to the fleeting sense, it's just, I think that, you know, we forget sometimes because that also leads very quickly to judgment. We forget our own sort of, when we have sort of made choices that were not very moral. And so, but it's, you know, and so that also is also fleeting, right? But even just, we may feel like somehow we're making better decisions than other people, but the whole thing of like the unity is sort of understanding that everyone is sort of at a different stage sort of in their development of their soul, and understanding that, you know, it's like understanding that, you know, that we all have our struggles and
Exactly.
so on, and kind of like that's then that then we don't feel superior because we say, okay, this is where this person is, and they're still kind of trying to figure this part out
Right.
in their life, right?
And that's kind of a trap, because it would be difficult to argue that all of us have the same level of challenge in our life. Some people seem to go through life with relatively minor challenges, and other people seem to have insurmountable challenges from day one.
Mhm,
So, you know, hence the saying life's not fair.
mhm.
And I think that's a trap. That's really easy you could fall into that. Well, you know, I'm better than this person. I've had more challenges in my life. Therefore, you know, I have more to be proud of than this person. Or, you know, how can you be proud of something that you didn't even actually directly have a hand in? Right. You know, I'm
Mhm.
proud of, I don't know, I'm proud of Acme Car Company because they came out with this awesome new car. And I'm proud to own one of those cars. It's like, okay, you're identifying as a car owner, you know,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
so far from who you really truly are deep inside, you know. So,
yeah. But it's true that oftentimes we might identify with our possessions, right?
oh,
Um,
totally. They all feed
and
into that false sense of self. I am a Acme car owner, or I am a Acme computer owner, or I am an Acme phone owner. You know, like, brand loyalty is a thing because people identify with the brand. And if Acme Sporting Goods is the cool brand that all the cool people are wearing, and I'm wearing that, then I'm a cool person too. And
right.
I mean, we could get into the whole like
And
psycho.
again, yeah, and again it breeds separation again, right? So it's kind of like I have this and someone else doesn't. If we all had it, then it wouldn't, no one would care, right? But if we're taking
Right.
pride in this, we're taking pride because someone else doesn't have it, right? So there's always kind of like that,
Yep.
you know,
It's
superior sense of
exclusive.
superiority,
And
and separation.
that's kind of the evil of marketing is creating this identity for you to step into. You know,
Mm-hmm.
our clients are like this, or the people that wear our clothes are this way, and it's like, ooh, that's me, I want to be like that. Or, ooh, you know, that does describe me. I do care about the planet, and I do want to make sure that my stuff is locally sourced, and I identify with this. And it's a trick, it's a trap. That's not who you are. That's not who you are.
What about intelligence?
What about intelligence? Being proud of your intelligence?
Right.
Again, I think you could argue that intelligence, in a way, you can develop it. In a way, you're kind of born with it. Just your overall processing speed and the ease with which you can learn new skills or understand new ideas or do complex problems. Um, Regardless of how much work you've had to put in to attain that intelligence, it's it's your brain, it's your mind telling you that you are somehow better than other people, or you rank highly in this category, and it feeds our egos, but it doesn't feed our souls.
And I think we, it's good to make the distinction between kind of going through kind of our life through our mind versus our heart, right?
Yeah,
And or your
because
soul, yeah.
your heart can distract you from your soul as well. Of course, that's another topic, but
Yeah, actually that's a good thing to mention. But I would say kind of like in a loving way and compassionate way. So that's what I mean, like when I talk about the heart and the mind in that kind of like constant labeling and so on, right? And
right.
kind of the ego construct, that comes from the mind.
Right.
And
Constantly separating you.
and meditation being sort of like the quieting of the mind, right? That kind of chatter that's going on, judging, labeling, right?
Right.
Things, and allowing your soul to kind of accessing your soul, things from more from that level.
Right. By practicing things like meditation, where you're simply focusing on your breathing, for example, you don't allow your mind to take over. Your mind has to take a back seat, and your soul gets an opportunity to be there and to be the primary driver of things.
Right.
And I think a lot of people find that when you're in that state, when you realize that you are this ever, just this eternal presence manifesting itself, like there's all those other feelings like pride or anger or wrath, greed, all those other things, they just melt away, because they can't compare. They can't compare to, the energy of the sun, the the size, the spectacular spiraling of the universe. I mean, it's the perspective that you gain from just allowing that being to manifest itself inside you is far greater than any of these physical things that we can get so wrapped up in. So on that note,
I am going to read a poem it's called The Fall. So this is what happens when you when you kind of like sell your soul to the devil. Okay, this is what this is about. So anyway, not to say like this is really what happens, but
right.
This is a poem, so please don't take it too literally.
Yeah.
I'm gonna read it. Okay. So The Fall. It's a slow decline, it's a fine line, going down a slippery slope, balancing on a tattered rope. You use your soul as a bargaining chip, closing big deals, thinking you're slick, piling up moneyed bills, a life of cheap thrills. Because the devil's convinced you he don't exist, but with your soul he's playing for keeps, setting up temptations you can't resist, and every falsehood gets you in more deep. You've opted for pride, not humility, blaming others over accountability, envying others versus charity, greed over generosity, gluttony over abstinence, rage over temperance. The list is not exhaustive. All this at the cost of what you should have never bargained for, your everlasting soul. And with every crime that you have chosen, Peter's gates have been slowly closing, while your heart has been getting frozen. And now your life's about to expire, and now everything's looking dire. You're about to lose it all in a fire, because the stakes kept getting higher. Now you found yourself in a quagmire. It's a long way down, the precipice is steep, it's a big drop, but now you can't stop, ignore the last call. Now it's time for the fall. Now it's too late to repent, the contract's in cement, it's time for torment. Lucifer rejoices for all your bad choices, and the angels have shrugged in the heavens above. They've left the battleground, your soul's nowhere to be found.
And I think that's a great close to the series, you know? I mean, the idea that at some point
You're gonna lose it.
it's too late. You know what I mean? Like at some point it's gone. It's gone. Now, who knows? There might be another opportunity for you to come back in another life or something. We don't know, but yeah, there is definitely a point where I don't know.
It's a slippery slope.
Yeah. I don't know. It's
Okay.
tough. Okay. Well, Monica, thank you so much for sharing that.
Yep. Okay. Thank you, Damian.
Thank you, listeners, for tuning in. And we look forward to seeing you again right here on Bad Relationship Advice. We'll see you next time.
See you next time.
Bye.
Bye.